Welcome in, episode 355 of What's Right with Nick Wright. And as always, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile. So much to do. Amazing weekend. I wasn't able to say what I was doing beforehand, and I'm not able to say the results yet. But if you guys remember, back in the day, the NBC Heads Up Poker Championship, 64-person March Madness style bracket that plays down 6 rounds to one champion, $25,000 a person entry, top prize. I think back then, I don't know what it was. This time it was $500,000 for top prize. Everyone in the Sweet 16 got $25K. Elite 8 got $75K. Final 4, $150K. Second place, $250,000. First place, $500,000. I was in it and got the nut low draw. I had Chino Ream in the first round. If I were to win the first round, I was staring at either Eric Lindgren or Jason Kuhn, and in theory, it just got harder from there. But that's what I was doing this weekend, and it will air on Peacock in October and on Poker Go afterwards. And so once it airs, like no spoilers, it's like taping a season of Survivor, except, you know, either more cool or less cool, depending on what you like, where I know the results and I can't discuss them. And again, no spoilers, but if on the next pod I'm wearing a new watch, maybe I did well. What I will tell you is it was an unbelievable experience. I can't wait to really be able to talk about it, but that's what I was doing over the weekend. Here is another thing that happened over the weekend, Damonza. This is, you'll love this. You'll love this. And the listeners should love this as well, I think. So I played in, I think it's fair. I played in a pretty famous private card game in Vegas. And I don't want to say whose it was, because all of a sudden card games, they're getting, just ask Gilbert Arenas. That can go sideways on you. This, of course, had none of those, unsavory elements. But whatever it was, some of the more famous card players in the world. And there were 2 people there I didn't know, but were, big-time card players. And my first day there, after about 20 minutes, one of the guys came over to me, and I'd love to say who these people were, but it's privacy and whatever, so I'm not going to. And he says, I want to show you something. And he opens up his podcast app, and the podcast he was listening to on the way in was you and me, our last episode from Thursday. And I was like, that is so cool.
And this was on what day, though? This is Friday,
This
Saturday?
was on Saturday night. Saturday night. He was listening to Thursday's show.
Thursday pod.
Yeah, so cool. Then, like 2 hours later, this British guy that I've been sitting next to for hours, he had a similar chain as me. And so we were talking about it, and he had talked about where he got his and, whatever. And I was saying, hey, if you're ever in New York, like, I've got a pretty good connect, that I at least, because whenever you buy like any diamond jewelry, unless you're a diamond expert, like you just risk getting totally scammed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, are these real? Are they not? Am I, are you saying they're VV with this? I think it's that. Like, who the hell knows? And he's like, man, I really might take you up on that. He's like, I've had this forever. And then he just drops in. He's like, but I think your 2-chain thing looks so cool on the pod with Damonza. I'm like, I didn't even know he knew who I was. A dude that lives in England, but he's watching. So shout out. So it made me feel great about the podcast. So that was awesome. And as always, I can't thank Brent Hanks, Jeff Platt, Maury, and all the guys at Poker Go, and the guys at Poker Stars, Gary Gates and such, for getting me in the field. It was an invitational only field, so it was really, really awesome. And so really appreciate all those guys getting me in there. And in October, we'll be able to talk about it. Like, I didn't even Instagram or post that I was there, because then people would be like, oh, how'd you do? And I'm like, well, I can't tell you. And so,
Yeah.
so I'll promote it when it's on, but it's great. Curtis, by the way, says, Nick, crazy to hear it's episode 355. I've been listening since episode 1. We greatly appreciate that. And the other thing we'd appreciate is if you would like, rate, subscribe, review, get the alerts on YouTube, put some reviews in on iTunes and Spotify. That would be wonderful. And subscribe there as well. All right, let's get straight to voicemail, brought to you by Boost Mobile. Game of the year is the first game of the year. And I'm not just saying this because it's on Fox, but 1 versus 2, Texas, Ohio State in August is pretty freaking sweet. The fact that August 30th, this month that we're in right now, you have a massive college football game is sick. De'Aaron Fox signs a max extension. I don't know about that one. That was, you have Castle, you have Harper, now you have Fox, who is a player I've always liked a lot. But Fox at 60-some million a year, or a little bit under, the question Daniel writes in the doc is it because he's a trade piece? My question is he more or less tradable on this extension? Or was he more tradable on an expiring? I don't know. I like Fox a lot, but is De'Aaron Fox ever going to be a top 10 player? Obviously not. Is he clearly and unequivocally a top 20 player? Not clearly and unequivocally. He's like in the mix for that. So that just worries me a bit, if I'm being totally honest. And Noah Lyles' quest to just being totally unlikable continued, you know what I mean, in full force. Of course Kenny Bednarik shoved him because he ran into his lane. Like, I just don't get Lyles. I
think there was some stuff going on between those two before the race.
I agree. No, there clearly was. But you still can't cross over into the dude's lane. Just ran 100 meters basically as fast as a human being can run it. You're not going to be able to throttle down immediately. Amazing weekend for track. 16-year-old ran a minute 42 800. A 16-year-old just ran a time in the 800 that would have won the college national championship last year. It is it's for the track nerds out there. They said it's one of another poker guy, Chris Brewer, who was a collegiate track guy, said it's one of the most impressive track accomplishments ever, what that guy did. And one other thing that didn't quite make the cut, and I didn't want to do a full topic on it, but President Trump says Saquon Barkley's part of the president's athleticism council or whatever. Saquon Barkley's like, then afterwards is like, I am shocked. No, I am not. And I can't believe he would say that without talking to me. To which I would say, this is why some of us kind of said, buddy, like, you can say you're just, you know, you play golf with everybody and everything's fine and you don't have a take. But, you know, you get in that orbit a bit and all of a sudden maybe you get scammed a bit. I don't know. Just my take. I'm not that shocked that went down that way. And Saquon, I think, is too smart to where he shouldn't be that shocked either. Now, to the biggest story in the sports world, the 6 quarterbacks on the Cleveland Browns. Let's get to it, Damonza.
Yeah, so the Browns have officially released their quarterback hierarchy, and it goes as follows, with Flacco as number 1, Pickett number 2, Gabriel at number 3, and Shedeur, your guy, at number 4. And so they're bringing in Snoop Huntley because of injuries to Gabriel and Pickett. You wanted to lead with the show with this. Why is that?
Okay, so here is what is so interesting about where I have found myself with the Shedeur Sanders conversation. Before the draft, I was one of the biggest skeptics. If you remember, like I said almost immediately that I did not think there was any real, like, which quarterback's going to go first overall debate. It was Cam Ward clearly and unequivocally. I then also talked about how I thought there was a very real chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be able to draft Shedeur without trading up. In one of my very first mock drafts, back when Shedeur was mocked and going top 5, I had him sliding all the way to Pittsburgh. Then when in the 20s, when this is all pre-draft, when the reports came out that Pittsburgh was flatly just going with Aaron Rodgers, I said on the TV show and on this show, sorry, I just rolled over Dexter, on the TV show and on this show, that I thought it was a very real possibility Shedeur slid out of the first round entirely. And I was discussing how I did not think that was because of personality stuff. Now, maybe I was wrong about that, but I thought everyone was focused on Shedeur the person when I thought Shedeur the player just wasn't a dominant player the way some people thought he was. That was my pre-draft take. My pre-draft take is good, not great athlete, not a super strong arm, like that. I didn't know that he was a blue chipper. Those are still all my takes on Shedeur, by the way. But what's happened in Cleveland, he then ends up going to a team where the quarterback options are the second oldest quarterback in football, Joe Flacco, an injured first-round bust in Kenny Pickett, a wee little fella in Dylan Gabriel, and him. And so the point I made on last week's pod was the only guy on the roster with actual upside, even if it's very small, is Shedeur. And since then, all Dylan Gabriel has done is have awful practice after awful practice where the beat writers covering the team are talking about how you almost feel badly for him, and gotten hurt. Kenny Pickett has also gotten hurt. So here's why I want to talk about the Snoop Huntley thing. So the Browns play Friday night. It looks like Damonza, Pickett, and Gabriel are not going to be able to play. Okay? So those snaps are gone. Flacco's 100. I would imagine they never planned on him playing preseason game 1. So the only quarterback they've got is Shedeur. So if that's why they signed Snoop Huntley, just because they need you want to be able to run your offense even in the preseason game so other guys get reps, and what if something happens to Shedeur or something like that, so be it. That's fine. That there's no issue with that. But Snoop Huntley should not be taking more than 5 practice snaps from Shedeur, and the plan for Friday should be whatever you want to do with Flacco, you do. Whether that's play him one series, Flacco's their starting quarterback and going to be their starting quarterback, and they don't want to just punt the season before the season starts, even though their depth chart, have you seen, the Browns' offensive depth chart is something to be, you just stare at it. Right now, it's Flacco at quarterback, David Njoku, who's a very nice player at tight end, Jerome Ford's their starting running back, Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash, and Jerry Jeudy are their top 3 receivers, with Deontay Johnson being their number 4, and an offensive line of DeJuan Jones, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Pochik, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin as their offensive line. It's impossible. So we know they're going to be bad, but they don't want to say off the top they're going to be bad. So be it. So whatever you think you need to do to have Flacco ready, you do. After that, Shedeur Sanders should play the entirety of that preseason game if Gabriel and Pickett are hurt. There is no reason whatsoever on Friday for Snoop Huntley, who is right now the 6th quarterback on the Browns roster, because Deshaun's on the roster. I know he's not playing. For Snoop Huntley to get a single snap, and again, this is not a knock on Snoop Huntley, who sneakily has a Pro Bowl to his name and started a playoff game for your Baltimore Ravens, a couple years ago. And I'm glad Huntley's getting another look. I promise It's not an indictment on Snoop. But this is the opportunity to see how Shedeur looks in a big sample against a live defense. And there are local Browns fans and media have gotten a little conspiratorial about, what the team does and doesn't like about Shedeur's whatever it is. And are they trying to kind of, slow his progress? Is it weird because the coaches didn't want him, but the owner did? I don't know.
You don't think they're getting ready to trade him or anything? There's something lurking.
So if that's the case, then that's even more of a reason to showcase him.
Right.
Here's one that I find interesting and that I think actually could be a best case scenario for Shedeur. Best case. If I'm Shedeur, I am hoping beyond hope I get 3 quarters, maybe the whole game. Because if Flacco's not going to play, then Shedeur in theory should play the entire game.
Yeah.
That I look decent, and that the Los Angeles Rams call the Browns. And the Los Angeles Rams call the Browns so I can be their 3rd string quarterback. As odd as that sounds. Because that's right. The Rams story right now is Matt Stafford's got a bad back. And that is really concerning. And their backup quarterback, while a fine backup quarterback, has his own injury concerns, which is Jimmy Garoppolo. If I'm Shedeur and I can getting to Los Angeles, no, there will be no media attention should he be the starter? Stafford's there. And for the Rams, it gives you a chance to maybe have a answer at quarterback, even if it's a long shot. And again, I've never believed Shedeur's a surefire NFL starter, but he's got a shot. Have an answer at quarterback after this year if this does end up being Stafford's last year, and maybe more importantly, not more importantly, but equally important as to why you would do this trade now rather than the offseason, whatever it is. If Stafford, isn't ready for the start of the season, because yesterday McVay was talking about Stafford and he's doing some light cardio. He's walking around. What? That's not great. So let's just say Stafford's not available the very beginning of the season, and let's say Jimmy Garoppolo gets clocked during week 1. Then all of a sudden you're staring at Stetson Bennett. And so, even if it's just a little short-term gap starter, and we saw McVay get Baker ready in 1 day for a start. He could have. So I do hope that, and if you're the Browns, if you spent a 5th on Shedeur and just trade him for a 4th, you won. It's great job. That's great process. You know what I mean? But I say all that to say, I am not a conspiracy theorist. But if we get this Browns practice report and Snoop Huntley was taking a lot of reps, and on Sunday, Shedeur plays a half and Snoop plays a half, that's my conspiracy theorist at 10A will pop up as Wilds does on TV. Because that makes no sense for anyone involved. So that's why I wanted to lead with the Browns. I'm actually fascinated by it. We also, we don't really have quarterback competitions this year, except for the saddest one ever in Indy, with Anthony Richardson and your guy, my guy Anthony Richardson, and your guy Daniel Jones.
I think Daniel Jones is winning that battle right now.
It seems like
might be neck and
the
neck.
Saints as well. You know what? I tend to forget the Saints are an NFL team this year. And I think that one is sadder. By the way, you want to know an unbelievable fact that I want to make sure is a fact before I say it?
What
So
is
the
that?
Saints, yeah, it is a fact, and by a lot, actually. The Saints quarterback battle is Spencer Rattler, Jake Hayner, and their second-round pick, Tyler Shuck.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Shuck, who was their second-round pick this year, Damonza, you're going to laugh at this, is 8 months older than Trey Lance.
Yeah,
Think about that. He's 8 months older than Trey Lance, who, by the way, shout out Trey.
Yeah,
for a nice
beating up on
little
the rookies.
Hall of Fame game. Still, though, he just needs to get, Trey just turned 25. So, he's been in the league forever. But again, he's younger than a second-round pick this year, which is so weird. Also, the Saints, what are you doing? Damonza, what year did you graduate high school?
2017.
So Tyler Shuck, who was the Saints draft pick this year, he graduated in 2018. He's won, and he's just he finished college 4 months ago. That's
as long as it takes.
Long college career. All right, we'll keep going. By the way, if you can't tell from the leading with the Browns and the Tyler Shuck discussion in the A block, it is the dog days of summer, which means it's time for the boys of summer to kick it into gear, and the best way to cash in on your baseball IQ is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Stretch drive begins. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with live betting, home run props, odds, boosts, and more. Whether you're chasing dingers or jumping in mid-game, there's always action to be had. Never bet on baseball before? Simple. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Guys, I've got a lunch for the staff bet with Wilds on this Royals-Red Sox series. The Red Sox won the first game, so I'm pot committed on the Royals on the money line tonight, plus 200. Also, if you want to make some home run bets, how about Bobby Witt did a home run, or Salvi did a home run? That's plus 550 and plus 650. Again, of course, lines and odds subject to change, but we are riding with the Royals tonight. Something special for first-timers, new DraftKings customers. Oh, this has moved up. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Wright. That's code Wright. For new customers, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When you bet just $5 only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right, Damonza, let's get to the news that broke right as I got to Vegas, which is the Micah Parsons news.
Micah Parsons officially requested a trade. I think it was on Friday or Saturday, and he
Friday,
said,
yep.
Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. And Jerry followed it up with, I'm not in any way revising the mentality that I have about how I go about negotiations. What do you think about the drama in Dallas and Jerry?
Yeah, here's the deal. I find the way Jerry tried to go about these negotiations, whether he meant to do it like this or not, but to be unethical. And I don't appreciate it. I think that it is totally fine for a manager and a employee to, be having a conversation, compensation, or, a contract or something comes up and they start discussing it. I think that's fine. And I think that if you're, if you're Micah, you're smart enough to know that if you weren't comfortable having any part of that conversation, that you can just say, hey, I'm not talking money here. That's what my agent's for. You know what I mean? And I think it's fine to try to work on a framework from those conversations. I think that is totally fine. And I think that it's even reasonable at times for I think it's reasonable at times that you might actually come to a real agreement. That it might be like, yeah, yo, you'll pay me that. That's what I want. That's what you want. Great. Sure. No problem. I think it is outrageous for the management side to think whatever is said in that setting is binding in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it's outrageous for the player to think what the manager is offering is a real offer, because Jerry Jones is the person negotiating for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is not the person negotiating for Micah. And so here is the way I understand it this went. Jerry and Micah got together in March. Micah thought they were having a general meeting about team leadership. During that meeting, a potential contract came up. It seems like Jerry threw out a number, or they had an idea, and Micah in the moment was like, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that would work. Micah then went to his agent, and his agent said, okay, that's fine, but I think we can do better. I think we will do better. They need to talk to me. And the Cowboys' stance from that moment forward has been, we don't need to talk to you. We are not talking to you. We have an agreement in place. That's unethical. That is when you know someone has a professional that they pay massive amounts of money to negotiate for them, and it is outrageous to then assume any negotiation that is done without that person's involvement is binding. And Jerry now saying, and there's another piece of this that I also really, really don't like, which is I do not view rookie contracts the way I view second contracts. So let me give you an example from my team and a guy that I love, Chris Jones. So Chris Jones had a rookie deal of 4 years, $6 million, right? He then got franchise tagged, and then they worked out a new deal, 4 years, $80 million, okay? Going into the final year of that deal, he wanted a new contract entirely. And the Chiefs made him an offer. They made him what they thought was a fair offer. He disagreed. That led to his holdout. Remember, he missed week 1 against the Lions. He's watching it from the box. And then they end up giving him a little extra money to make him happy, but not a new contract. Just a little slight bump in that final year. They held the line on what they thought was reasonable. And they never used these terms. But it was, listen, man, like, we negotiated a 4-year deal. We're in year 4. We are open to renegotiation. But if we need to have you play this out, we're okay with that because we agreed to this contract. That's not how the rookie contracts work at all. Rookie contracts, there is no negotiation. There is no agreement. There is no back and forth. You are drafted in a certain spot. You are slotted in that spot. It is a 4-year contract. If you're a first-round pick, the team can then add a 5th year to it that, again, you have no say in. You have no ability to negotiate, to change, I don't want to pick it up. So that is why every single first-round pick from Micah's draft class that has performed at a high level has gotten their next deal because it's the first deal they actually get to negotiate. And it is why, again, whether you think it was, some of these deals you might think was done by the team, but Trevor Lawrence got a new deal after year 3. Jamar Chase got a massive deal this summer. Jalen Waddle got a new deal after year 3. Penei Sewell got a massive deal. J.C. Horn, top of market deal. Patrick Surtain, top of market deal. Devontae Smith, great deal after year 3. Rashawn Slater just got a top of market deal. That's everyone. So I just went over 10 guys taken in the top 13. Here are the people, maybe it wasn't 10, but here are the top 13 picks from the 2021 draft who have not gotten huge second contracts. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons. It's outrageous.
That puts it into perspective right there.
Yeah. The guy, so top 13 picks who from that draft class who have gotten new deals. Oh, I apologize. I left one guy out. Kyle Pitts has not gotten one. Sorry. But so the ones who have gotten it, let me do it again. Top 13 picks. Trevor got a deal. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell, J.C. Horn, Pat Surtain, Devontae Smith, Rashawn Slater. Those are the 8 with new deals. Here are the 5 without them. Zach Wilson, who's been on multiple teams. Trey Lance, who's been on multiple teams. Justin Fields, who's been on multiple teams. Kyle Pitts, who's shown flashes but hasn't, achieved up to what people expected. And Micah freaking Parsons, who's the first player in NFL history to be top 3 Defensive Player of the Year voting in each of his first 3 seasons. And for them to be holding him hostage based on we had an agreement in March is insane. And Jerry, do I think they're going to trade him? I do not. Do I think he ultimately will get paid? Yeah, probably. Do I think this is going to be another year where Jerry, because of the way he does business, gets the headlines, gets the discussion, and then it's much ado about nothing? Maybe. But it is not in anyone's interest for Micah to not be out there practicing. They have a new head coach. He's the best player on the team. And this is not in my opinion, I don't love in general the honor the contract stuff in the NFL because teams obviously can cut players at any time. We are so ingrained in teams cutting players that when a new contract, think about, this is where the media can be unintentionally a little insidious. Hold on one second. If you're watching on YouTube, yeah, Dexter, you're blocking our Boost Mobile pillow. Hold on. You gotta move, Dex. There you go. People at Boost Mobile pay good money to sponsor this show. And Dexter, you're laying up on their pillow. I'm back. The way, think about how when a new contract is signed in the NFL, it is framed. You'll hear this. It's a 5-year, $110 million deal with $45 million guaranteed, and the team can get out of it after 3 years. The day it's signed, it's looked at as, okay, it's 5 years, but really, if it's not a good contract, when is the team able to cut ties? How quickly into it? Because we know that's how it works. So I'm not a huge fan of asking players to honor the contract anyway nobody gets mad when players get cut by teams. But it is particularly outrageous to ask players to honor a rookie contract that they did not get to negotiate, that they had no say in. And especially if Micah was just a slightly worse college player, he would have already been paid because the Cowboys wouldn't have had a 5th-year option on him and he wouldn't have been a first-round pick. So I think he gets paid. Go ahead.
Oh, because on the subject of 5th-year options, do you think the 5th-year options should be taken away if you make a Pro Bowl or All-Pro?
So it's interesting. I think that the idea behind the 5th-year option, in my opinion, was I'll give you a great example. You know who the fifth-year option is really good for? Kyle Pitts. Because he has not achieved at the level they wanted him to, but they spin a top 5 pick on him, and he has shown flashes, and they don't want to, just move on immediately, right? So I think that is a fair compromise in his instance. So what I was going to say is I think the player should be able to decline the fifth-year option, but that's probably tricky because then every player would probably decline it. Should you be able to achieve out of fifth-year option eligibility? Yeah, I think that because you have to declare fifth-year option for a team after year 3. I think an all-pro spot is a very high threshold, but I think that's probably fair. If this Pro Bowl's too tricky now because what is and what isn't a Pro Bowler, you know what I mean? You could, maybe you could say on the original Pro Bowl team, you know what I mean? Like one of the, not an alternate, right, not a replacement, whatever.
Exactly.
But certainly, so this is what I would say. If a player in their first 3 years makes at multiple Pro Bowls or a singular all-pro team, first or second team, then yeah, fifth-year option's out of there. Like if you want, and by the way, the team still has the franchise tag.
Right.
But at least, and for Micah, because he has been an all-pro, the price of the fifth-year option is the same as the franchise tag. So you might say, what good would that do? Well, you can only franchise tag a player ever twice. The rule is 3 times, but no one's ever getting franchise tagged a third time because the third one is so exorbitant. And so at least if the Cowboys right now were threatening to franchise Micah, he would then know, okay, great, fine, you could do this once more, then I can never be franchised again the rest of my career, and I have ultimate leverage like Dak ended up getting. But yeah, so I don't like how the Cowboys are doing this, and I don't like that Jerry, I think, knows better about what ethical negotiations are and isn't really honoring that, in my opinion.
You said that
ahead.
you didn't see Micah Parsons getting traded. So you want to do a likely maybe what if? What do you think the situation is that'll end up coming?
So it's likely that he gets. Let me pull up TJ Watt's deal. TJ Watt got 3 for $123 with $108 guaranteed. $41 million a year. I think it is likely that Micah gets 4 for $170 with $110 guaranteed. So $42 million a year. The first 3 years basically fully guaranteed, and the fourth year is basically a team option. That's how I think this will play out. I think that's likely. I think maybe maybe they don't come to an agreement and he plays this year out. That's probably the least likely. And the what if is, what if a team says, what if Buffalo just says, you know what, salary cap be damned. The fact that we tried this with Von Miller before didn't work out, be damned. We are not, Sean McDermott's like, I lose to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs because we allow 30 points again. I'm out of here anyway. Let's figure out how to make this work. Would that
scare you?
I would not want the Chiefs to trade for Micah Parsons. And I think Micah is arguably the best defensive player in football. I just think if you have the superstar quarterback, which the Ravens have, the Bills have, the Chiefs have, you have to. It's not you can, you have to. You just can't and the Chiefs already have a super expensive Chris Jones. You know what I mean? And so I don't think it would be a good idea for the Ravens to trade for Micah. If the Bills maybe have to change something. You know what I mean? So would it scare? Here's the answer on would it scare me. It would certainly bum me out for this season. But I think if we're looking at the Bills-Chiefs rivalry as being over the next 5 years minimum, I think that is the type of trade that they would long-term regret. Even if Micah wins Defensive Player of the Year twice in that time frame, I just think you'd have to give up so much and pare away so much of the rest of the roster that, you know what I mean, you wouldn't. So scare is maybe the wrong. Here's a team that I think, might want to say screw it and do it. The Raiders. We got no secondary, but we could have Max and Micah. We're trying to win right now anyway. Why not? You know what I mean? That's one. I think there are a few teams that might make sense. All right, let's go to Sean Payton.
The media has been super high on the Broncos. You have not been. So is Sean Payton. He came out and said the short-term goal is winning the division, but this is a team capable of winning the Super Bowl. I've coached 6 teams that I thought could win a Super Bowl. This is my 7th. So should we believe in this? Is he too high?
Okay.
Too low?
He also said Bo Nix in the next 2 years is going to be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the world.
Yep.
He also said he's going to be a superstar. Also, by the way, check out when you're subscribing to What's Right with Nick Wright on YouTube. There's another new channel you can subscribe to on YouTube. Did you see this, Damonza?
What is it?
Bo Nix's new YouTube channel. And my take going into the draft was Bo Nix was Mac Jones. For those of you wondering how that looks so far, well, Mac Jones in year 1 with the New England Patriots made a somewhat fraudulent Pro Bowl as an alternate. Bo Nix, check. The team won 10 games kind of surprisingly, made the playoffs. Bo Nix, check. The team played the Buffalo Bills in round 1, lost by 4 touchdowns. Bo Nix, check. And Mac Jones that offseason trademarked Mac 10 and all this silly stuff because he was a future star. Go follow Bo Nix on YouTube. Here is my problem with the Broncos hype and discussion. Gosh darn it, Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter.
You know what? I actually think it's value add.
It draws
attention. It
to
draws attention. Exactly right. Here is what I think people are not recognizing when they are talking about the Broncos as the Broncos have an excellent defense, and that matters. Now, Dre Greenlaw's dealing with a quad already, and Hufanga, who I love as a player, has been injured every year since his rookie season. Those are their 2 big additions. The other problem is this. Last year, Damonza, they won 10 games. Okay? The first game they won, they beat Baker Mayfield. Salute. That's a real thing.
That's a good win.
Who they beat after that? Okay? Aaron Rodgers, who the Jets then got rid of. They then beat Spencer Rattler, who is in the saddest quarterback battle of the year. They then beat Bryce before Bryce got hot. They then beat Kirk Cousins right before they benched him. They then beat Gardner Minshew, who I left that out earlier. They actually beat Gardner twice. They then beat whoever the hell was starting for the Browns at the time, Jameis, who is currently, I think, a third-string quarterback. They then beat Anthony Richardson, and they then beat Chad Henne.
Yeah.
That's all their wins. Now, we are now saying they're contenders. Well, to be contenders, let's just start with the conference. How did you do against playoff teams in your conference? Well, you played Pittsburgh week 2 and lost. You played the Chargers week 6 and lost. You played the Ravens week 9 and lost. You played the Chiefs week 10 and lost. You played the Chargers week 16 and lost. You played the Bengals, who weren't in the playoffs, but that was a playoff level game, that game, because they were still alive, week 17 and lost. You then played the Bills in the actual playoffs and lost 31-7. Why am I supposed to believe that team all of a sudden is going to be great? Now, folks out there like, oh, Nick, you always just hate on the Broncos. Last year, preseason, gambling show, our favorite win total of the year, Broncos over 5.5. Even though I didn't believe in Bo Nix because that number was too low. They had a last place schedule. Russ, it was so terrible for him. I'm just calling it as I see it. And right now, is there any other team this year or any year that you can remember that had the pretty universally accepted worst quarterback in their own division that we were like, yep, that team, look out for him? Like, let's just look at the other teams across the league who have the worst quarterback in the division, what we think of them. Justin Fields and the Jets. Were we afraid of them? Whoever's starting for the Browns, Joe Flacco, how are they looking?
The division.
The Colts with Daniel Jones. The Giants with Russ. The Vikings with JJ. And again, that's harsh on him, but he's just young. Now, maybe Damonza's like, maybe Bears. It's Caleb. Again, I don't think people, even though Caleb's stock is dropping, have JJ ahead of him. Yeah. In the South, the Saints with whatever they're dealing with. And in the West, Seattle with Darnold, or Arizona, I guess, with Kyle. Like, They just
believe in themselves. They're believers.
Say it again.
They're believers. They believe in themselves.
Sean Payton has talked a lot of shit, though. Yeah. And listen, this is a tricky one because Sean Payton, as great of a coach as he is, he must be a better hang because the media loves him. So many of my colleagues at Fox, just from the 1 year of working with him, they love him. I think Peter Schrager, my pal, he loves him. And we kind of give Sean Payton he walks into Denver, does the interview about what a clown show it was under Nat Hackett. And by week 3, the Dolphins are hanging 70 on him. Last year, after sneaking into the playoffs and then getting absolutely demolished by Buffalo, has the audacity to say, if we had won this game, we really liked our next matchup, which was going to be against the Chiefs. A Chiefs team that then beat the Buffalo team that he lost to by 100. And now he's like, talking division isn't big enough for us. We need to be talking Super Bowl when that team has not won the division since the last year they won the Super Bowl.
Sean Payton thinks it's a weak NFL right now, I think, is what's going on.
Maybe. And here's the other thing, Damonza. I am very, very prepared for a month into the year, the Broncos to maybe be 4-0.
Yeah.
And people
yeah.
And people are firing stuff back at me. Like, because their softest part of their schedule is the beginning, in my opinion. Home for Tennessee, at the Colts, at the Chargers, which is a home game, home for Cincinnati. But I'm curious how the rest of that's going to go for them. And we'll see. But this is one where I've put my money where my mouth is. I'm in the process right now of negotiating a real Broncos bet with poker legend and one of the best sports bettors ever, David Baker. I think I'm going to give him Broncos to win the division at plus 320. And I think we're also going to... What, Damonza? You look flustered by that.
He wants to bet and give you money for the Broncos winning the division?
Well, I got to give him plus 320. So, you know what I mean? If we bet $1,000, he can win 3,200. But yeah, he wants that bet, and but I'll also, I think, bet him miss playoffs. And so, maybe I'll be wrong, but I want this take understood. And I want to see, and you know what? Maybe I'll make a third bet with David if we can find a fair price on this. And have it be an either or, and if it's neither, then it's no action. Which is, the Broncos are so much more likely to finish last in the AFC West than finish first. They are, I think the Chargers are better than them. I know the Chiefs are better than them. And I think the Raiders, because of schedule, coaching, quarterback, I think the Raiders can pop. Now, the most likely outcome is the Broncos finish third. I understand that. But I see no outcome whatsoever where the Broncos finish first. And we'll see. We'll see how the future superstar Bo Nix looks come November. Maybe I'll be wrong. I doubt it, though. And Boss AJS says in the chat, show us the team and quarterbacks the Chiefs beat. It's not that impressive. Last year? I mean, we can do that.
That's pretty funny.
Let's see, who are the quarterbacks the Chiefs beat last year? Lamar, Josh Allen, Cousins, Herbert, Carr, Purdy, Minshew, Baker, Nix, Bryce, Minshew,
Burrow.
Herbert. I thought I said Burrow.
You stroke.
Cleveland, whoever was their quarterback then. CJ, whoever the Steelers quarterback. Russ. Then CJ again. Then Josh Allen. So every single good quarterback in football.
Denver in Week 18 though. 38-0.
Yeah, they didn't play their guys.
Yeah,
they sat everyone.
Oh,
okay. And then they got crushed in the Super Bowl. They beat so in other words, they beat every single good quarterback in football except for Jaden, who they never played, Hurts, who beat them, and Stafford, who they never played. Good try, good effort. All right, by the way, this is a message that applies to 99% of you listening right now, because that's how many of you can be covered by fast and reliable service on the Boost mobile network with 99% nationwide coverage. And if you don't think you deserve a deal, listen up. You have another thing coming. Right now, when you switch to Boost Mobile, you can get iPhone 15 with Dynamic Island and a 48-megapixel main camera for $149.99. That's $149.99 for iPhone 15 on a nationwide network. I'm 99% positive Boost Mobile just gave all of us a really good freaking deal. In-store offer only, $35 device setup fee may apply, requires credit qualification, ID verification, and activation on a $60 plan. Taxes extra, 5G speeds not available in all areas. All right, Damonza, let's keep going. We're going to go faster through these next ones.
Camp has been slightly unfortunate for your guy Caleb Williams. He went 5 of 17 with 3 interceptions. He was also trying.
Can I say something real quick? I'm putting a slight asterisk on this 5 of 17. I saw one person tweet it, and then I saw articles written that cited the tweet. So I'm not certain that was the exact number, but he obviously struggled in front of the fans. Now keep going.
He had delay of game penalties, and he was throwing a ball at this net, and he could not get it in the net, and he got really mad.
Yeah.
I thought that.
All right, do we want to play this? Yeah. Okay.
So I mean,
Damonza.
I mean, come on.
Okay. Do you remember when we had the dartboard out on the back deck?
Yeah.
That final throw reminded me of when I would be playing darts and barely miss my first 2 attempts. And then the third one, I would just rear back and fire it and sometimes miss the board entirely. And so here's the serious take. The little pout reaction after is, in my opinion, more concerning than the throws. Yeah. Like, we know Caleb Williams can make short, quick, pinpoint throws. Like, he didn't there, but we know, like, it's not like, oh, man, this guy, he's not, when he is not deep in his own head, he is an accurate, precise passer. The problem is the getting in his own head, and the problem is the body language and the emotional stability of him as a player. Now, I think Ben Johnson is, and I'm not talking about in this drill, I'm talking about the delay of games, and I think Ben Johnson is intentionally trying to break him down a bit to then build him back up. And trying to throw, yes, and trying to throw as much at him as possible. I know there was a clip, or not a clip, but a report that Ben intentionally cut out the communication between Caleb's headset to see how he reacted to that. He's doing a lot so they can then, when it's time for the actual games, streamline it and things will feel easier than they actually are. I think that's smart, as long as Caleb doesn't get too down on himself, and as long as Caleb can handle it well. And I do think I didn't love the commentary about Caleb after he cried in college, because so much of it felt kind of lowest common denominator, and there was a lot of like winking and a nod to paints his nails, carries a merce, and now he's crying, and it just felt like we know what you're trying to imply, and like it, and so I stayed out of it. I do think, though, there was something to the taking a loss that hard and not being, able to compose yourself. That was like, oh, that's something. Just like it does. What I didn't like was it felt that I would have felt my opinion would have been the exact same if instead of crying, he had gone to the Gatorade table and thrown that and broken stuff or whatever. Right. But it felt like the general reaction would have been very different because they were basically saying he's feminine. Like, that's what the attacks were. And that part, like, that's bullshit. But the inability to like keep your
Deal
cool.
with the loss and keep your composure 100%.
That part's real. That part's real, and that's like a fair concern. So I still fully believe in Caleb. I do think that he doesn't have to be excellent week 1 on, but he has to either be solid all year or the final 2 months a la Jordan Love's first year with the, Packers, where it like looks pretty shaky early, like, oh man, is this guy not the guy? And then bam, it's like, oh shit, he just won Offensive Player of the Month, something like that. If he's the guy I think he is, he has to give you a tangible reason to believe it in year 2. Which, by the way,
has to be pretty good. I think he needs to make an effort in that department because the say on him right now, it's not great. Like with the attitude thing, I think it's a much bigger thing than what it needs to be right now, outside of just. I
agree with you. I agree with you, and I think from your
just smile.
Our experience together, in sports, how important I think that is.
Yeah.
I think that when you are a team's best player, and Caleb's not, maybe he's not their best player yet, but he's the starting quarterback and the number 1 pick. Like, you're the de facto leader.
Right.
People take their cues from you. And this is something that I used to give Damonza so much shit about. Yeah. That he wore his emotions on his sleeve. And I thought that opponents saw it, but more importantly, people that are the leader of a team or the best player on a team, the teammates of yours that aren't as talented as you take their cues from you. So I'm not going to, play favorites here. Like, he's got to be better about that. And it is one of, in my opinion, something Patrick, Josh, and Lamar do exceptionally well. It's always, first of all, you're pointing thumbs, not fingers. And Burrow as well, by the way, is great at this. And we got it. You know what I mean? We got it. 100%. And one of the things that you see a little bit, again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I think it's accurate. Jalen, by the way, also obviously is a great leader in this stuff. But one of the things you see a little bit from Lamar in the postseason is some of these
frustration. It leaks out a little bit. Yeah.
Like, whoa, like it's where it feels like he feels like, oh my God, it's happening.
He's grabbing his head, yeah.
Yeah, in a way that never happens in the regular season. And so, like, I do think that stuff really matters. And so, yeah, he's got to get better about it. He's got to get better about it, no doubt about it. All right, let's go to Luka.
So Luka signed his 3-year, $165 million extension with the Lakers over the weekend. We've all been waiting on that. So now that that's finally happened, do you think that it's time for LA to really press the gas on trying to succeed in the now?
Well, listen, I said after they didn't re-sign Dorian Finney-Smith that I thought there was a chance. I put Luka signing the extension was at 90%. I had it. I dropped it to like 75%. So I do think this is good, important, real news. I also think that because he signed the extension, they are able to slow walk this a bit if they want to, because Luka's not going anywhere over the next 3 years. And by the way, the next deal he'll sign, Damonza, will be the league's first $1 million a game deal.
Supermax, yeah.
Well,
I mean, was that what he was supposed to? Was that what he was coming up on in Dallas?
No, he was
not quite that.
He could have signed. No, he would have gotten the biggest deal ever in Dallas, but we wouldn't have gotten to that threshold yet. But 3 years from now, his contract will average more than $82 million a year, and there's 82 games. It's a really remarkable thing. Here is though my general Lakers take that no one even the biggest anti-LeBron folks haven't been able to explain to me where I'm wrong on this. I think it is overwhelmingly likely that over the lifetime of this extension, these next 3 years, Luka never has a teammate better than LeBron is right now. Now listen, maybe they're going to get Giannis, and I'll be wrong. Maybe they have their eyes on Joker, and I'll be wrong. But Shea ain't going anywhere, and Tatum's not going anywhere, and now we're like running out of people who are better than LeBron right now. Okay? So I would, if I were the Lakers, prioritize trying to win right now, because if they think this is their last year with LeBron, I do not know that Luka is going to have a better running mate than LeBron over these next 3 years. Now, again, if they have real intel that if they keep the cap sheet clean, in 2 years, Giannis plans on just coming there in free agency, then so be it. Then you know what? If they, then see, it's not like they're drawing dead this season. Like, they've got a nice roster. Then keep it flexible. But that's a hell of a gamble to take. Like, a hell of a gamble to take.
Are you worried at all that there's like a rift potentially forming between Luka and LeBron, or do you think that Luka knows that it's
I don't think it's between Luka and LeBron at all. LeBron was Luka's all-time favorite player. Luka's the guy LeBron tried to sign to his shoe line. Luka, I don't think there is anything between them at all. I think there is some obvious frustration for LeBron, fair or not, that the Lakers are not pressing the gas even more on this season. Now, you can say that's unfair, right, that they shouldn't, whatever. But that is, to me, the entirety of the frustration is that right there. All right, guys, you guys know it. We're just a couple weeks away. I am so excited to go to the U.S. Open here in New York City. I go every single year, and I go thanks to my friends at SeatGeek. They are a sponsor of today's show, and they deserve a huge shout out. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, music festivals, and more. Right now, you can get tickets to the NFL season, which is right around the corner. Major League Baseball going on right now, which is in full swing. And as I've said, I love using SeatGeek. You go to the app, type in U.S. Open Tennis. Let's just see what look at this. Wow, it really is 2 weeks from today. Mixed doubles session, $50, day session, bang. Now this one, look at that. You just get in there. 50. Oh, I'm supposed to show the phone. Sorry, my bad. I was too busy looking at it. $50 at Ash. $50 at Ash. Where's our first grounds sessions? Grounds admission, August 24th. Get into Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Grab me a ticket right there. It's just as good as it gets. You guys know how it works. Each ticket's rated on a scale of 1 to 10. You know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good. Red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And you guys can help me out a lot, because there is nothing I like more than sponsors with products that I've used well before they're sponsors. SeatGeek is definitively one of them. So use my code if you use SeatGeek. Code WRIGHT10, WRIGHT 10, for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code WRIGHT10. Make sure you click the link in the description, download the app, have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to SeatGeek. All right, Damonza, let's run through the very end here, because I got to go.
So Baker Mayfield came in at number 50 in the NFL top 100 list. He enters this year as the 8th best odds for MVP. And Tampa Bay also just drafted Micah Parsons, and they're getting Godwin back from his injury. What are your expectations for Baker this year?
Expectations are he has another really good season. Ceiling is he is a frontline MVP candidate, and they are a true contender in the NFC.
Okay.
Like, I think that's on the board. And here's the thing. In order for them to be a contender, he has to be an MVP candidate because that defense is not going to be great. They are going to have to outscore people. But Baker had 40 touchdowns last year. He was a badass,
He's a dog.
man. Yeah, I mean, he was a badass last year. And he right now has, I want to make sure I'm right about this, that I didn't miss it. Yeah, he's on the best non-rookie contract in the NFL. 3 years, $100 million for Baker Mayfield. He is one more good season away from getting a $250 million deal. He's been that level of player, and I'm just happy for him, man, because the shit went so sideways on him. Yeah, and his teammates love him. He is true to himself. He's tough. He is a legit, awesome playoff performer. Like, this is the thing that people, I think, underrate with Baker. He has played, I think, 5 career playoff games. I'm going to tell you what he did in them. First playoff game ever. The Cleveland Browns go into Pittsburgh, hang 48 on them. Baker throws for 260, 3 touchdowns, a 115 rating. Second playoff game ever, his only ever bad playoff game. He's against the 2-time defending AFC champion. He's against the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, and he's 23 of 37 for 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 75 rating. But he's in Arrowhead in round 2 against the 2020 Chiefs. Like, no shame in that.
Yeah.
He then makes the playoffs with Tampa, his first playoff game ever against Philly. And again, it's so crazy. This is Philly. This game was in January of 2024. Yeah, exactly. 32-9, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a 120 rating. The next game against Detroit, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, a 95 rating. They lose by 8. And then the game against Washington last year, a wild one, where he only throws 18 times, but he's 15 of 18 for a $185, 2 touchdowns, and a 147 rating. In his playoff career, he's got a 106 rating, 12 touchdowns, 3 picks. Like, I mean, he's just been awesome in the big games.
Brighter, it gets better.
Yeah, so I'm a Baker believer through and through. All right, let's do these last 2 real quick.
James Cook is holding in as he looks for his contract extension. After a few years of big dollar running backs paying off, it seemed like the debate was put to rest, but that conversation opens back up again. Or do you think Cook is just not that guy?
Well, no, I think Cook's really good, but the Bills have no cap space. He's under contract for $5 million. They know they can franchise tag him for not much. And even if you think he's awesome, do you think he's going to be awesome 4 years from now? So, go ahead.
Wasn't he a huge part of their offense last year? Like, what
huge.
Buffalo.
Each of the last 2 years. No,
right, exactly.
I just think they think he's going to blink, bro. I don't think it's that they, you know what I mean? I think that they think we'll give him a little more money, but not long term. You know what I mean? Nothing long term. And then or maybe a 1-year extension. But the report is he wants, I don't know if it's what he wants. I don't want to get this wrong. But I saw 4 years, $40 million bouncing around, which is only $10 million a year. But I just think they think at that position, his style, in 2 years, he could be done. And it's just such a tough business for running backs, man. It's just such a tough business for running backs. All right, rate, subscribe, review to the pod. Let's get to some of these listener questions quickly if we can, please.
Justin says, Fox is getting paid more than LeBron. Is he ever going to be better than year 40 LeBron? How is his contract not holding back the Spurs like LeBron's contract holds back the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons the LeBron contract discussion was so absurd. LeBron is demonstrably better than Fox. And most people, I'm not one of them, most people like the Fox contract a lot. I'm a little skeptical of it. Like it's just so much of the LeBron discourse just so stupid.
Indy asks.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. You read about the Indy asks, Nick, can you compare the first 21 playoff games from Patrick versus Tom Brady? I think people need to see just how great Pat has been in the playoffs.
I can do that another time, but Pat's 17-4 in the postseason, and the all-time highest passer rating. All of it, the numbers are just bananas. No resume is going to compare well to that. There's just no question. All right, next.
Matt asks, is flatly your favorite word?
Do I use it a lot? I must. I have some verbal tics like that, so maybe
Flatly a little bit.
I didn't know, but go ahead.
Dustin says, Nick, I watched all of the M1 movies. I don't know what M1 is.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible movies after your glowing recommendation and love them. How would you rank all eight movies?
That is. I will do that another time. I can't do that at the very end of a show. It deserves too much. It deserves
An impossible corner.
Yeah, I mean it's just the greatest film franchise ever. All right, Adam says that it's his 26th birthday. He got 8 tickets to see the Sox play the Royals in Fenway with our SeatGeek code. How about that? Appreciate that. He said, much love from New Hampshire. Happy birthday also, Adam. All right, like, rate, subscribe, review. Appreciate you guys. I've got Colin in about an hour, and then first things first at 3 o'clock. See you guys there. What's right? Oh, wait. Thank you to Volume, DraftKings, Blue Duck, Boost, SeatGeek, and, of course, our friends at... Did I get everybody? Did I leave anybody out? I think I got everybody. Thank you to everybody. Talk to you guys later. What's right?